Hey guys, it's me, Courtney. I've been playing with some dipping acrylic. I did this index finger about a week ago and it's held up really well. And I did my thumb yesterday just playing around. But today I'm going to show you how to do it on the other three. So I'm using this nail prep just to dehydrate my nail beds before I use the dipping powder. So this was sent to me by an AliExpress seller called EC Cosmetics, and you can get the individual powders for £3.6 and this whole kit was £14.8. So you get the base coat and an activator and a top coat. The top coat is actually a regular nail varnish top coat and I didn't really find it very shiny, so I used a gel top coat. So you can dip your wet nails into the powder or you can scoop it. It doesn't really matter what technique you use, they both work really well. So what you're going to do is prep your nails like I have and dehydrate them. I haven't used a primer and I had good success. So you're just going to brush on the base coat, which is essentially a nail glue, but it doesn't work with regular nail glue. I have tried that in the past, so don't try and use nail glue thinking it will be the same, because it's not. So when you paint it on your nail, you need to make sure that you cover the whole thing, because wherever the liquid is, the base coat, is where the powder is going to stick to. Once you have it covered, you need to be pretty quick because it will dry, and just sprinkle on your powder. And it's that easy. So I did 3 coats on the nails that I had previously done. And I like the coverage that I got from 3 coats, so that's what I'm going to continue to do. So you can just do one nail at a time like I am showing you here, or you can do one nail with the base coat, apply the powder, do the next nail with the base coat, apply the powder, and so on. Probably it would be more efficient to do each layer on each nail and then go back to the first one. But because I'm using a different color on this one. So you see here on the corner of my nail, at the top there's a little nick where I hit it with the cuticle pusher, but on the corner it pooled the base coat and it's a little bit thicker. It's not really an issue. Obviously you want to avoid that by doing really thin coats. That's not an issue. We can fix that at the end. So this is the second layer, and just scooping it on, making sure that I get all of the sides of the nail and then tapping off the excess. And you can see already that it covered up that little nick. Was that the third layer? It must have been the third layer. So once you do your final layer, 2 or 3, whatever coverage you're happy with, you put on this activator, which is a really thin, watery type of liquid, and it just makes it go really, really hard. So once that's dry, you can buff it or put your top coat on or whatever you need to do. So I'm going to show you the dipping method with the last 2 nails, and I'll do it in the technique that I mentioned before, doing each nail one at a time. So put on your base coat, make sure that you cover the entire nail so that every little bit gets a little bit of powder. And then you just want to dip it in as gently as you can. It is a little bit tricky and it was hard to film, so I spilt it there. Luckily I have a dust extractor and I'll just scoop that in. So that covered really well. I'm going to go on to the next one and do a thin layer of the base coat. I probably used a little bit too much there and I think I got it on my skin, but also that's okay. We can fix that. Nothing a file can't fix. So once you do all 5 or all 2 with the first layer in this case, go back and do your second and third layers on each of those nails. Just apply the base coat and then dip it or pour the powder on top of it. Like I said, I did my index finger about a week ago and I have some significant growth on that finger, so it obviously works really well. And you might already know that I'm allergic to acrylic. I was a bit worried about using this, but I haven't actually come out into a rash or anything yet. So I think it's just the monomer that really affects me. This has caused me no problems at all. So that's 3 layers done. This one you can see the activator has dried and it's gone really hard. So I'm going to put the activator on the other ones. Oh yeah, I did get it on my skin there. It's still quite malleable until you put the activator on. So I'm just picking it off before I put the activator on so it doesn't harden on my skin. I have no idea what's in this, a bunch of things I can't pronounce. But it's really liquidy. I assume it's like a resin activator, something like you would use in a fiberglass or a resin nail as well. It doesn't take very long to dry. By the time I get these on and get the top coat on the middle finger, they'll be ready to go. So this comes in a lot of colors on the AliExpress store. I'll flash these up now. I didn't see the colors that they sent me. I guess maybe that one's my middle one, and maybe that one is the other ones that I did, or maybe that one. I'm not sure, but there's a glitter one, hooray! And that one's just clear white. So once your activator has dried, you can put your top coat on, or you could just buff it before you put the top coat on. I don't know why I didn't buff it before the top coat, but this is how I did it. You could absolutely buff it before you put the top coat on. It's really hard and it's ready. There's little high spots and low spots that you can see on the tip, mostly in the corner where the base coat pooled a bit. But I'm going to use a buffing block to get rid of that. And the wee jaggy bits on my pinky nail there. Look at the growth on my index finger, that's incredible. It really has lasted very well, and I've done a lot of nails. So this is the buffer that I'm going to use when it's dry. It didn't take very long to dry at all. I thought it would take ages because it's only a normal top coat, but just after a few minutes it was dry enough to buff. So I'm going to get my buffer. This is a 100-180 and it's been used a lot, so it's not actually as rough as it probably was when it's new. But I'm going to start with the 100 side and see how it goes. As I'm buffing, I'm looking for the high spots and trying to buff those out to the same height as the low spots. You can see on the corner here, it's a bit higher. And if you look at it from the end of the nail, hopefully I'll do that in a minute, you can definitely see the difference. Yeah, like that. If you look at the nail like this, you can see which spots need buffed, and if there's one that's a lot higher, you can use the 180 side. I wouldn't use a file for this, I would only use a buffer, because if you file too much away, it's going to take the color off, and we don't want that. So when you finish buffing, just give it a clean with some isopropyl alcohol, give it a check, and if you're happy, then that's ready to be top coated in either regular top coat or a gel top coat. Yeah, it's grown loads, that one. I'm going to have to redo that one so it matches the others. So I'm just continuing here to file, well, buff the surface of the nail to get rid of any high spots. You can see on the right here, it's quite low. So I'm going to use the 100 side to get the other side to match that. And I just buff a little bit, check it, buff a little bit more, check it. It doesn't take very long. It'd probably take less time if I hadn't top coated it first. Yeah, that's good. So in this one, you can see here, there's a wee jaggy bit where I pushed it off with my nail. But the buffer took care of that, no problem. And it didn't cause any kind of damage to the overall effect, which was really good. So here they are all buffed up and ready. Just make sure you don't have any jaggy bits underneath and you're happy with the levels all across all of them. Then you can go ahead and put on the top coat that came with it, but it's just a regular top coat. I don't have time for that. So I did put my Gel Bottle Extreme Shine top coat. You will get a top coat with the package if you order it from AliExpress. They send a free gel top coat, but I didn't get that. So yeah, I have noticed a lot of people say with dip powders that the gel top coat peels away, but I didn't have this problem with this one. So maybe it's a brand thing. I'm going to put some cuticle oil on because I love some cuticle oil. And make everything all nice and shiny. I like the two colors that they sent me. I like the middle one. It goes nice as a little accent nail. They're not too thick and they're super duper hard. There's no way that's going to break or bend. You might be able to get away with doing a small extension with these, but I would just use it as a color and a strengthener personally. But go and check out their store. I'll put the link in the description box below. I think it's an absolute bargain. And thanks for watching. Check out these other videos and follow me on my social media. Bye.